All right, let's talk about something I think we've all felt. You ever get stuck in that super frustrating gap? Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about, where you've read all the books, you've watched the videos, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing to get better, but you're just not doing it. It's that age-old problem, right? Knowing the path versus actually walking the path. So today, let's see if we can finally build a bridge over that gap.
So in this explainer, we're mashing together two really powerful but totally different approaches. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got the why. This is all about the deep psychological dive, really getting into your own head. And on the other side, you've got the how. This is the straight up, no nonsense, just tell me what to do stuff. What we're gonna do is see what happens when we stop picking a side and actually start using them both together. Okay, here's the game plan. First, we're gonna meet our psychologist. That's the no-sense way of thinking. Then, we'll bring in the drill sergeant, the unfiltered approach. After that, we'll look at the big problem, the discipline dilemma, and see why just one of these isn't enough. And then, we'll put it all together in our unified approach and wrap up with your brand new mental toolkit. All right, first up, let's talk about the thinker, the strategist. We're calling this the no-sense approach, and it is all about popping the hood on your own brain, right? It's not just about what you're doing, it's about figuring out why you're doing it. The idea here is to treat your mind like a complex system, one that you can actually understand and fine-tune from the inside.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. The core philosophy is that everything, your habits, why you procrastinate, your level of discipline, all of it comes from these deep underlying mental frameworks. It's kind of like you wouldn't try to renovate a house without looking at the blueprints first, right? Well, this approach says you gotta understand the blueprint of your own mind before you can start making any real changes.
So what kind of stuff does this cover? Well, it's all about the cognitive side of things. Instead of just gritting your teeth and saying, I need more willpower, this way of thinking encourages you to dissect the psychology behind it. For instance, you might learn about a concept like decision fatigue, which is this idea that your willpower is basically a battery that runs down during the day. Just understanding that, that's a huge first step. It's like you're upgrading your mental software before you even touch the hardware of your actions. Okay, so we've met the psychologist. Now let's pivot and meet our second character. If no sense is the thoughtful therapist, this unfiltered approach is the in-your-face drill sergeant. We're talking way less theory here and a lot more action. This is the doer's philosophy. It just cuts right through all the noise with simple, practical, and sometimes brutally honest advice. And wow, just look at that quote. The contrast couldn't be more clear, right? This approach is basically screaming, forget the blueprint for a minute, just pick up a hammer and start building. The whole idea here is that all that thinking, all that analysis, it can turn into its own little prison. They call it analysis paralysis, and the only way out, you just gotta force that first step. Just do something and let momentum take over from there.
And you can see this practical, get-it-done focus in the topics, too. It's not the psychology of procrastination, it's how to stop procrastinating for good. See the difference? It's not about the deep mental frameworks of discipline. It's about how to force yourself to be disciplined right now. These are real, tangible skills you can use immediately.
Yeah, and this slide just perfectly lays out the method. This isn't some deep philosophical text. It's a command sequence. Simple. You want discipline? Step 1, eliminate choice. Get rid of the option to fail. Step 2, create consequences. Make doing nothing painful. Step 3, execute. Now, not tomorrow. It's a whole system designed to just bypass all that internal debate in your head and force you to get it done. So, there you have it, the thinker and the doer, the architect and the builder. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens when you rely too much on just one? This, right here, is where so many of us get completely stuck. We end up becoming one or the other, but it's really, really hard to be both. And this is the heart of the dilemma. The thinker in us can have this perfect, beautiful understanding of why we procrastinate, but we're still sitting on the couch, not doing the thing. Meanwhile, the doer can use pure brute force to crush their goals for a week, maybe 2, but because they don't really understand why they're doing it, they burn out, and they crash, and they end up right back where they started. Okay, so here's the big reveal, the secret sauce, if you will. This was never an either-or choice. The real, lasting breakthrough happens when you finally combine the two. It's when the person who studied the blueprint is the same person holding the hammer and nails. So let's give this a name. We'll call it the unified model. And it's actually pretty simple but incredibly powerful idea. Use those deep psychological insights, the thinker stuff, to figure out what the real problem is.
That's your blueprint. And then you grab those direct, no-nonsense actions, the doer stuff, to actually build the solution. Those are your tools. And this table is where it all just clicks into place. Let's take procrastination. Okay, the blueprint side tells you you're not lazy. You're actually afraid of failing. That's the deep down why. So now what? Well, the tools side gives you the answer. Take one tiny step. Immediately. Not tomorrow, not when you feel motivated. Just now. The insight identifies the fear, and the action robs it of its power. You see that? The why guides the how, and the how validates the why. It's a perfect loop. So what does all this mean for you personally? It means you can stop thinking of these as two opposing teams you have to choose between. Instead, start seeing them as two essential gadgets in the same toolkit. It's all about developing that skill to be both the thoughtful architect who designs the plan and the decisive builder who makes it a reality. And really, if you remember one thing, let it be this. True productivity, the kind that lasts, isn't about picking one path. It's about integration. The most effective people out there, they don't just operate in one mode. They have the ability to zoom out, to strategize, to understand the big why. And then, in a heartbeat, they can zoom right back in and execute on the how with absolute focus. They're the whole package. So I'll leave you with this question. Take a second and really think about it. Are you building your life with a clear blueprint? Or are you just hammering away with a bunch of tools and hoping for the best? What if you didn't have to choose? Why not do both?